am continuing my Art for the Global Spirit series where we combine art and travel. Today we're going to talk about an inevitable thing that happens when we travel, and that's getting lost. It can be physically getting lost, or, the feeling of being lost in a foreign place. So today I wanted to just embrace that idea. I think sometimes it can be, you can look at it in a negative way. It brings up stress, anxiety when you get lost. But I want you to kind of embrace that on your next travels and through this art lesson as something in a positive light. You're testing your own abilities. You're building connection with the person you're traveling with, whether it be a spouse or a friend or a family member or someone you had just met. You're going through something together, and to use your problem-solving skills to get you out of a situation or to fully embrace something and find the beauty in getting lost. Maybe you go down an alleyway and you find some small museum that you've never seen, or it lands you at a little restaurant that you never thought or you didn't plan to be at. So I'm all about safely, you obviously try to be safe, be with someone, be smart about when you're traveling, especially if you're in a different country. But there's something so wonderful about getting lost. So let's get lost in this art lesson today. In this lesson, I'm going to be just working on an Arches watercolor paper, and I have a bunch of ephemera here to the side, a mix of some maps, some imagery that connects to a memory that I had when I was lost, and the many, many times I've been lost, but this one stuck out the most. So I picked some images that connected to my own story, and I'm just going to be clear gessoing. I also have ink, pen, Stabilo, just a variety of mixed media materials to the side that I can use if I need. But I really, when you think of lessons that you learn from travel, getting lost does not necessarily seem like a lesson, but it really is. To me, it's the lessons you learn about yourself when you get lost. And in these moments, like any moments in your life that you feel uncomfortable, we try to push them away sometimes and really trying to embrace them so that we can overcome something and we can gain some growth about ourselves and the fact that we can push through it and we can do it. Obviously be safe on your travels, but you want to embrace that feeling of being or feeling lost and what comes up with that. So I have a mix here of mixed media again. I'm coming in with some maps, some ephemera I had around. And this journal spread specifically is about a time I was lost on the Paris metro and, speaking a little bit of the language, but not much. And this overwhelming feeling of, having no idea if we were going in the right direction. So I want it to be really chaotic and busy because that's exactly how I felt in this moment. I felt this sense of chaos and this sense of fear that came up of, how far away am I getting and where are we going to end up? So that's where I want to put these really busy movements with the Stabilo. And really, it's just going to be kind of a little bit chaotic and messy. And that's a feel that I want. But I picked some imagery from Unsplash of these people that really are kind of standing still amongst this absolute chaos and busyness, because you really do need to kind of just sit there and either study a map or rethink where you're going or ask a local. And some of that is just that engagement with other people teaches you so much. So when thinking about your own journal spread or your own artwork, I want you to think of those times that you were lost in your life or in your travels and what feelings came up with it. And then you can kind of pick your color palette. So for me, I picked kind of a limited color palette. I'm going to do primarily black and white and neutrals, but then I do have some pops of red, to represent that fear that came up. And then also some kind of what I would call like sea colors or ocean colors to represent the calm that had to take over in order to get out of being lost. And so I picked these pictures. This woman in particular is in that state of, she just looks confused. She looks lost, but she's standing still. And she's really taking in the moment. And I think that's so important, where you start to come in within yourself and you realize that you have the skills to get you out of it. And maybe the skill is asking someone for help. And maybe it's problem solving, but just how much you can learn about yourself in these moments of getting lost. And then another woman here, I included her because she almost looks like she's on the edge of finding her way. And then other symbolic imagery, again, related to my own story. And then like flowers that represent, connecting to that moment, because truly there has been so many times I've been lost and I find the most beautiful things, or I meet the most beautiful people that are willing to help. And it's a good reminder that when we see someone lost, even in our own city, to be there for them, to help them through it, because we all know that feeling we get when we are lost, and that overwhelm and fear that can come with it. So think of it lightly as well. But, use symbolism that relates to your own stories. Again, I could have done so many versions of this because I've been lost in so many cities and countries, I can't even count. But trying now, when I get lost, less of that fear comes up and more of that exploration kicks in for me. And I think that just comes with time. And the more you travel, the more calm you feel in those moments. And you have a better strategy of what to do and how to overcome it. So I came in with tons of layers. It's really busy. It's really messy. And it does really have that chaos that I love, that really represents to me that feeling of being lost. But I'm going to come in now, and this is where I start doing some drawing. I do some painting to make these collage elements a little bit more my own and painterly feel. If you want, you can go in and draw your own buildings, draw your own architecture, draw your own portraits, and I do that some. But for the purpose of this and keeping it quick, I used a lot of collage elements, but I do want to put some kind of architectural marks, and then I'm going to find a way to kind of tone down the busyness so that right now it's difficult to see, where the focus is. And I think busy can be good, but you also need the viewer to have their eye go in a certain direction. And already I'm really liking the left bottom or the bottom of the page better. And maybe I just cut this at the end because that's the part that I love the most. I love her looking at the map with the red car, with that metro sign and those busy lines. So keep that in mind. You can redo a piece and just use a certain area, or you can cut it afterwards if there's only a certain area that you really love. But my favorite part of the community here is to hear your stories. I would love to hear of the stories of when you were lost and how you overcame it, or, where it landed you. Maybe that spontaneity came in because of you were lost and you ended up in a different place than you expected. And some of those stories are just so beautiful. So if you're willing to share either your artwork or stories, I would love to hear them. And I know others would as well, because we can all learn and grow from each other's stories as well. So the next time you get lost, I hope that you can look at it in a positive light and you can really reflect on that growth you have in those moments of uncomfortable. It is in these moments that we learn the very most about ourselves. And sometimes it's an isolated incident, but sometimes these uncomfortable moments can bring up fears that are consistently happening in other aspects of your life. And I think once you confront them, you can get through them. I mean, the more we bury them, the further we're going to get through our own fears. And I think travel teaches us so much more in life about ourselves, about our surroundings, and really try to embrace that growth while you're being lost. But thank you so much for joining me. I hope you join me on this continuous series of Art for the Global Spirit. If you want to deep dive more into technique or art history, you can join one of my Art Passports classes, or you can visit my website for any other classes that we have. But I hope to encourage you to reflect on your own art journeys and your own travels, and dive a little bit more into your own experiences and bring those stories into your art. And if you're willing to share, I know so many people would love to see what you create. I will say this over and over again, but I am one perspective. This is only my perspective of my travels and my experiences, and everyone else that shares in this community really builds this incredible community where we can learn and grow from one another.